Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Erica with Memory Box Candle Co. and I make videos all about making and selling candles. And today's video is going to be an updated and more informational video all about my Digiboil back there. Now I have been using this for about 3 months now and I have just kind of grown to understand it and learn it a little bit more since my previous video talking about it. So I really just wanted to go over some points. I wrote down some notes so I can say it in this video and I don't forget anything. And I also want to show you guys right up there, you can kind of see a little bit. I actually got another melter that I have never used before. It was just a brand that I found on Amazon. And prior to that, I was using the Presto pots, but I have soon kind of transitioned out of the Presto pots, and I will kind of discuss that a little bit further into the video. But as of right now, let's go ahead and get right into the review. All right, so this is what everything looks like over in my little candle making area on my stainless steel table that I got from Uline. And as always, I will have everything linked in the description box below just so you guys can check out everything. But this is my Digiboil and this is my new melter in the middle right there. I also have this one over here for my tart wax, but I won't actually be talking about that too much in this video just because I wouldn't necessarily recommend for you to go out and try to find it. If anything, get the Digiboil. It's so much more affordable than this one. I got it from Alibaba, and this one right here I will talk about a little bit later as well. But going right into the Digiboil. So the whole setup that I have with everything, the power that the Digiboil needs its own surge protector. So I have two different surge protectors over here. So these are both set up to where this one, the Digiboil, has its own surge protector, and then these two melters over here have their own, because whatever it is about the power of it, this one definitely has a lot more power. And I recommend to get the surge protector just so you aren't, I don't know, surging your electricity? Is that how it works? I'm not too sure. So with this Digiboil, it is pretty tall. And right over here, you can see something that I really love is on the spout. It actually has a little rubber end to it. So like for instance, on this new one that I have, it does not have a rubber end. It's just all metal. And I've noticed that it can get pretty hot versus this one that you don't even feel the heat at all. And in terms of these little dials here on the back, we have a 1000 watt switch on the left and a 500 watt switch on the right. And I just have the 500 watt switched on. Like I had mentioned before in a previous video where I talked about the Digiboil, I had asked you guys on, on Instagram, for those of you that have and use the Digiboil, which one do you use? So I had a couple different responses of people saying a bunch of different things, but the majority of people were saying just use the 500 watt one because you don't want to scorch the wax or get it too hot. So I just wait. I'm very patient when I turn it on. Usually I like to make candles in the morning and I just come on, I turn on both surge protectors, and to be honest, it usually takes about an hour and a half to an hour and 45 minutes for everything to be ready to go and at temperature. So let me show you guys what it looks like when I flip it on. So I really just go right here, I turn it on, and then the lights turn on and it starts to melt everything. Now let me show you what it looks like actually on the inside. So I have a little step stool right here, otherwise I would not be able to actually show you guys this because I'm not that tall. But this is what it looks like on the inside. You can see the little gallons, liters on there. So this is an 8 gallon or 30 liter melting pot. It's used for brewing, so for like alcohol, I think. So what I did was I did a calculation because the most common question I get is how much wax can fit inside of here. So I did a calculation between the liquid, like water or thinner liquid weight to wax weight, and I believe it holds around 50 to 55 pounds of wax. And of course, just like with any other melter, the less wax you have in there, the higher it's going to heat up at, and the potential of it heating up a little bit hotter than what you're used to. So I actually noticed that a lot more with the Presto pots than with this Digiboil. I've noticed that even if the wax is relatively low, it doesn't get as hot as my other Presto pots used to from the level difference and having it set to the same temperature. So I actually have this set, let me see. So I have it set around 177 to 179, and that brings the temperature up inside of the pot for the wax to be between 190, 195, sometimes a little bit hotter. That's how I like to personally set my wax at. Sometimes it can get up to that 200 degrees and it's totally fine, because I have definitely been made aware from the amount of time that I've been making candles that it needs to be hot before I put in the fragrance oil. It needs to be at that temperature of 180 to 190 for it to bind with the wax to actually get a good cold and hot throw. So that is what I've noticed personally for me with the Digiboil. It might be different for other people who have a different kind of Digiboil or maybe a different version. I don't really know how it works, and maybe all machines are different, but I would recommend to set it to about maybe the high 160s or low 170s and just let it heat up and check the temperature. I personally use this little laser thermometer, and that just is kind of like a contactless. However, of course, that one is not as accurate as an actual stick thermometer. So I know that that thermometer is about 5 to 10 degrees off, meaning that it shows that it's 5 to 10 degrees hotter than it actually is. So I have to keep that in mind as well when I'm checking the temperatures. And it's just all a learning process as I go through everything and just kind of seeing what works for me personally with my candle making. And then as for the most common questions that I get about the Digiboil is this little black cover that I have over it. So I actually turned this inside out. There's like a dinosaur design or a lizard design or something on the other side, and it says like Bruzilla or something. I didn't want that on my Digiboil, so I just turned it inside out, and it basically just helps to regulate the heat. So it's a very similar material as like one of those little beer holder things, the little, I don't know, it's like a cloth thing, and it's supposed to help regulate the temperature and keep it cold. This does the same thing, but it keeps it hot. So that is what that is. And again, I'll have it linked in the description box below. I got both of those from kegfactory.com. And then the last two questions that I always get about the Digiboil is the same kind of questions that I used to always get about the Presto pots. So any kind of machine like these, Presto pots, Digiboils, any kind of melters like these, you are more than welcome to heat it up, use what you need, and then turn it off. If there's still wax in there, that's totally fine. Just like how I showed you, there's still wax in there, and you can just heat it up again the next time you make candles. I never even weigh my wax out when I'm putting it in there. That's why I had to do that calculation for you guys to actually see how much wax can fit inside of there, because I had no idea how much wax could actually fit inside because I'm not measuring it out. I just kind of put it in there until it fills it up to how much I need, and I use what I need for the day, and then I turn it off. And another question that I always have gotten about Presto pots or melters has to do with fragrance oil. So I never ever put fragrance oil inside of my Digiboil. You will be just either wasting all of that, or you are committing fully to this melter being only that 1 cent. So if you want to get a bunch of different melters, that's definitely an option if you want to do that. But I just have this as just plain wax, and then I measure it out and I pour it out, and then I add fragrance into these little pitchers. So I measure it out into these little pitchers, and then I'm able to actually add in the fragrance oil from there. And with the way this is set up, so I have this right over here. This is actually a poker set. So this is a metal poker set, and I use it for my tart wax. Now I need to get a block of wood or something over here because as of right now, I'm just dragging it to the edge, and then I put this right in front of it. And this is just a bunch of tote boxes, and then I'm able to put it up against it so I can put the pitcher on it and actually get the wax into the pitcher, because this is just way too short for you to actually put the pitcher under it, as you can see right there. So you do have to lift it up to be able to figure out how to actually use it. Oh, and then the last question that I actually just thought of in my head right now is I have a lot of people who ask about where the level's at. So with this on here, there is wax down here. So you do have to be aware that this is not level with what it is. So there will be wax underneath it. But again, I've never thought that as being an issue because I keep refilling it. It's nothing like I use it all the way down until there's absolutely nothing in there. I'm always constantly refilling it, so it's never actually an issue for me. And then this little guy right here is my new wax melter that I got on Amazon a couple weeks ago. It is a 9-liter or a 16-pound wax melt holder. So it can hold 16 pounds of wax, but I usually keep it at about halfway. Beeswax is very temperamental, so I don't want to make it too hot, but you have to have a sweet spot with beeswax because it is such a high melt point wax. So sometimes what happens is this little part right here gets all solidified. So when I try to turn it on, it doesn't actually turn on, even if the entire melting pot is melted. So that is something that is kind of annoying, and I don't blame the melter, I just blame the beeswax because beeswax is very hard to work with. So it's just kind of something that I've learned throughout the process. So sometimes I have to take my little heat gun and I have to heat up these sides right here, which again just kind of heats this up. So I'm thinking about putting some sort of protectant on that just to make sure that I'm not burning myself while I am getting the wax out. But what I really like about this one is the actual stream of wax that comes out is very gentle, which is perfect for the beeswax that I need. This stream of wax comes out a little bit more chaotic, I would say, is the best way to describe it. But this one is actually a pretty steady stream of it coming out. And then on here, right here, it is not digital. It is just kind of like the turn dial, just like with Presto Pots, which is fine. I did notice that this already, after first use, was starting to curl down from the heat. So that is definitely something that I noticed. But so far, so good. I like it better than the Presto Pot for right now at this time in my candle making career, just because it does hold a good amount of wax, but it's also stainless steel, and I just like the way that this is set up. I don't have anything against the Presto Pots, and I still think that those are a really, really good option for beginners and people that are moving up from the double boiler method into the Presto Pot method. But anyways, guys, I hope this video was helpful, just kind of a full walkthrough of the Digiboil and then my new wax melter that I just got. Overall, I love the Digiboil. I wish I had like tons of these. I just think they're really, really awesome. I haven't had any issues. The temperature stays pretty consistent when it's set to that temperature. Again, just like I was saying before, you do have to note that the temperature is going to be a little bit different than what is inside of the pot. So I usually set it, again, like I was saying, to high 170s, and it usually brings up the temperature on the inside anywhere from 190 to closer to 200, just kind of depending on how much wax is in there. So I hope that is very helpful for you guys. If you have any more questions, feel free to leave them down in the description box below. No, comment section below. Feel free to leave them in the comment section below. And also don't forget to follow me over on Instagram at MemoryBoxCandleCo. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.